It is a gorgeous sunny day here in North Idaho, and I am feeling tremendously blessed by that sunshine. It was sunny yesterday too. It was very raw. It was cold this morning too, but the sun just heats things. Of course, we are entering mud season as everything thaws. So we have the thaw and the freeze and the thaw and the freeze, but still can't beat that view. Trying to spin it around. There we go. So it is very bright out here. So I will not be able to see the screen for a few minutes, but we're going to venture up to the house. Come on, Copper. I just love my little house. I love my little house. Oh, and Miss Copper's showing herself. The old girl, she needed to get some fresh air, and I know firsthand, if I don't bring her out here when it's sunny and give her a little taste of it and get her out for a little stroll first, she will sit by the door and cry the entire time I'm live. Experienced that the other day. That was great. Not really. I hope you guys are doing well. Life is good. I hope you're making it that way. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and we are going to talk about all that stuff today and how to handle all this stuff, prepare for all of this stuff, and a lot of things you should be thinking about. So I'm going to venture inside and hear that amazing sound of my coffee brewing, because I left it on the stove, and I'll show you what I got going on for dinner. I love my wood cook stove. It is my slow cooker all day long. So let me venture inside. Hopefully I don't have to scream to round her back up. Come on, Copper. Come on, girl. Yep, she's gonna make me scream. Copper! Oh, no, here she comes very slow and reluctantly. Do I have to? All right, get on in there. Good girl, thank you. All right. Do you hear that sound? Yep, that's my coffee pot. So, okay, yes, I am a double-fisted drinker. I've got hot water in the center, and yes, I do have 2 coffee pots. While I'm still standing here, I'm going to show you my dinner. Cast iron skillet, some non-GMO chicken drumsticks seasoned with, let's see here, we got garlic and onion powders, and I have seasoned salt on there, a little bit of water, and they are cooking in their own juices, and it smells so good. Of course, it makes it very hot in here, so that was also part of my desire to go for a walk, because I had just worked out a little bit ago, right in front of the stove, no less, because my house is small, so it made it quite hot, and I needed to change my body temperature, so I wasn't sitting here sweating on you guys, so. Oh, and I left my coffee cup at the wrong spot. All right, one more thing. I have a video coming out for those of you that have never used a percolator before. It will be coming out later today on how to use a percolator coffee pot. There is nothing worse than being stuck with the power out and not being able to brew yourself a cup of coffee. So I want you all to be aware of that, because our simple pleasures go a long way in unusual times. So I want to make sure you guys know how to take care of yourselves and provide all the goodies for your families, regardless what comes our way. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get this hooked up so I can see all your comments. I believe I saw Miss Shannon on there and Diana. It's very bright out there, so it was hard to see. All right, let me see. Yes. Oh, let me turn the volume down. There we go. All right, so we got Miss Shannon, we got Rhonda and Diana. You guys are all saying good morning to one another. I love it. And yes, I see that you made it, Miss Rhonda. I am excited about that. You guys all bring such smiles to my face. I love you all so much. And I'm so grateful you enjoy spending time with me, because I enjoy this too. I'm a hermit on the mountain, so this is my weekly connection with the world. Rhonda says, what a beautiful day on the mountain. I know. I'm loving it. And last night, I was blessed. This is like my picture right here. I sit here and I'm working here all day, or upstairs right in front of that window. And they are like my picture to the world. And I'm very in tune with change in my surroundings, which is very good. And I looked out there on the ridge, getting ready to drop off, you know, to where I wouldn't see anything anymore. I'm like, that's an elk butt. Sure enough, it was. It was an elk bottom. And I got to watch. It's hard to tell if it's a cow or a bull this time of year because they are dropping their antlers. It was big, so I'm guessing it was either a very large cow or a bull. But it was very nice to see. And last week, as you saw, as my mouth goes gaping, and I'm like trying to spin the camera, when that eagle flew over, you know, I see eagles all the time and just all kinds of things. So I love paying attention to my surroundings, and I love being out in it. So Diana says, hello to everybody from wet Northwest Georgia. We've just been it's so muddy. Like, the mountain boy will come over and he's like mud up to his knees, and then it freezes at night, and then everything's really hard, and then it thaws again. So it's like just this mucky mess. So you're either in boots, knee boots, or hip waders. It's good. And then we'll switch seasons. It's all part of the lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But you guys are getting a lot of weather. Diana, is that normal for you to have such a wet season right now? Rhonda says, I'm supposed to be multitasking. I miss seeing the chat when I do that. Not very productive. I hear you. Well, you know what? Take a break for a while and enjoy the chat, and then go back to it. Then you won't punish yourself trying to feel torn between trying to be productive and not. And then when you go back later, you'll be really productive because you were focused. So I've been having to have those moments too. Diana says, I have one like the one on the left. Oh, the coffee pot. I have multiples. You'll see in the next video why I have so many kettles and so many pots. And also, there truly are good and bad ones. So that was also the point of doing the video, because a lot of people don't have percolator coffee pots, and they'll go buy one, and then they'll be disappointed because it doesn't perk well. And there's a reason for that. And also the importance, like the one that Diana's talking about had the plastic handle, you know, that can't go from my wood cook stove out into a fire. I mean, it could, but I'd have a black soupy mess of plastic in the fire and on the side of the kettle. So there's purpose in everything, and I want to share that with you guys. And I know it's something as simple as a percolator coffee pot or even a tea kettle, but there are good and bad ones, believe it or not, and also some that have greater purpose than others. So Shelly says, I am making beef heart stew for tonight. Ooh, that sounds really good. I love heart. Oh my goodness, I love heart. Yeah, that's like one of our favorites when we get an animal. We soak the heart in salt water to get all the blood out, leave it in the water in the fridge for a day or two, and then enjoy it. And we either put it in water and like parboil it with seasonings, or I bread it and fry it in healthy fats. It's healthy for you. Not all fried food is bad for you. So Diana says, percolators make the best coffee. I know. And I do have a French press, but I still lean toward my percolators. So let me see. And the Mountain Man, I almost think I need to keep 2 going on a regular basis, because my coffee cup, I don't even know how many ounces it is. I don't know if it says. Does it say? Nope, it don't say. It's a lot. It's like half a pot. So when I get a cup and then I go for another, he starts cringing and wants to make sure he's going to get some more. I love big mugs. Let me see. Rhonda says, oh, I've used a percolator but get too many grounds. Would like to see it done right. Well, and okay, and that's a simple trick, actually 2. So that is part of the video as well. And you know, you can make things like cowboy coffee. Here's a trick for you on the fire. If you don't have anything else and your only means of cooking is on a fire and all you have is like a tea kettle, put your grounds in it, bring it to a boil, get it nice and dark, and then put some cold water, dump cold water in there just a little bit, and that'll send all the grounds to the bottom. So when you pour your cup of coffee, you won't have all that stuck in your teeth, because that's what you're partaking. So that's cowboy coffee. We do that a lot too here. Shelley says, I'm going to be donating blood this afternoon, so the stew is to replace the iron I will lose today. I have to buy our meat, and it is cheap, and hardly anyone buys it. It's so good. Oh, yeah, and a great iron replacement. Yes, you have to be careful, though, in eating too much of it. I say that because the hearts we eat are like the size of my head. From the elk, they're just massive, and they are so good. But we made the mistake of devouring almost a whole heart one night and woke up and were like not feeling the best the next day. Diana says, we put a coffee filter in the basket of our percolator, also a pinch of baking soda or salt to the grounds. That takes out the bitterness in the coffee. It also takes out the acid, and we do the same. Yep. Shannon says, I don't drink coffee, but I grind coffee grounds for my boyfriend because I heard how toxic coffee is from the store. Is this true? Very. Yeah, very. It's really important. I mean, I can't have anything other than non-GMO organic foods. So that being said, I'm always buying organic grounds or beans, but I also buy organic green beans and I roast my own, which I have a video coming on that as well. But yes, and you get better coffee and a better cup of coffee, tasting coffee, when you freshly grind your beans. So many of you have seen my old antique arcade grinder. I love that thing. And so we freshly grind our beans all the time. Let's see here. Yes, exactly. Shannon says, good for Shelley. Yes, exactly. And that's a progress, because for her, she wasn't able to donate her blood for a while because they were evaluating her blood and making sure it was okay for her to share. She was having some struggles with health issues, and so she celebrates that, being able to do that. And that's an awesome thing to be able to do. It helps so many people. Shannon says, perfect weather for maple syrup, warm during the day and freezing at night. Yes, exactly. And many people are tapping right now. Right here surrounding us, we don't really have anything but tall timbers. But up higher on the mountain, there are trees that can be tapped. So that is something that we would like to do in the future. We're also wanting to plant more trees here, and fruit trees specifically. Shelley says, I was always low in iron, but after having a hysterectomy, I have iron to spare. And that's awesome. I struggle with iron. Always have, and I cannot take iron supplements, so it comes from my food as well. Rhonda says, probably true, Shannon, but we are stocked up on coffee and not getting rid of it. Too much invested in it, and with inflation, having to make choices too. Exactly. And the other thing is, that's a great barter tool. So if you have coffees that you would prefer not to drink, save those for a good barter tool and get the kind that you would prefer and that's healthier for you. That's an option too. And we're going to talk more about that kind of stuff. Rhonda says, I just got one like the one on the right. I was concerned about the melting handle. Have seen too many of them melted. Yes. Mr. Keith is in the house. Greetings from New Zealand. Autumn is here and now harvesting seeds and stuff for the BC Survivor girls. Awesome. 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 And your weather is probably amazing. I love the starts of fall and autumn. Just the temperatures are like so perfect. How are things over there as far as the unrest and the mandates and everything, Keith? I know you're pretty away from it all, but I haven't seen anything recently. Rhonda says, you ladies are tough. We do not eat organ meats, the worst being liver. Oh, I love liver. You know what the trick is to liver? That outside coating on the liver that's like the bluish, that needs to all be peeled off. And if you see pieces that are really veiny, just cut them out and don't eat them. Give them to the dogs. because those are the pieces that tend to be more chewy and harder to chew, and the ones that cause you to not like liver. And when you pull that gray layer off the outside of the liver, you have such amazing meat underneath. They're very soft, very tender. And I saute up onions and garlic, and I then add the breaded liver to my pan, and it is just so amazing. But I get it. Austin doesn't care for it either because of the texture. Yeah, I love organ meat. It's really, really good for you, and that's one of our favorites. Rhonda says cowboy coffee. Yes, have watched Cowboy Kent make it, and he's one of our faves. Yes, yes. Rhonda says, I wondered about using a coffee filter. Yeah, you don't have to, but it's very easy to add that. I do, but if we'd run out, it wouldn't be any big deal for us. But I do use them. And make sure that you're using the non-bleached. Anything that has been bleached is leaching bleach into your food. I do not use anything in my home that has been bleached. So keep that in mind. Whoop, I just hit something. Whoop. Shelly says, I was able to get some moose liver. It was so good, and I was able to make moose liver burgers with winter slaw on a bun for supper then. So good. Oh, yes, yes. And moose and elk liver and heart are just massive. I mean, you get meat, many, many, many meals out of that. So, and you're not going to find fresher meats and more wholesome meats. And I always say that forgetting that, in my surroundings, I don't have GMO cornfields. So if you are surrounded by GMO cornfields, do remember that what your animals are eating, so are you. That goes for your chickens and everything else. It's no, what they are eating, we are consuming. So just keep that in mind, because that plays a huge role in our health as well. Rhonda says, we have organic coffee beans, but ration them. Yes, exactly. And you know what? It's not a bad idea to ration now. And I mean, we do that too, we also rotate our food, but yes, I see what you're saying. Those are your favorites, so you ration those. But in the big scheme of things and in the big picture of things, rationing right now is not a bad idea on everything. And just, learning to not be a wasteful consumer, but a good consumer, because it's going to start coming in. It's going to start happening. We're going to start seeing a lot of things. And you know me, I'm not a doom and glimmer, but I wouldn't sleep well at night not sharing with you my heart and sharing with you what I'm seeing and sharing with you the realities of things. And yes, you hear me saying all the time, I wear my pink shady glasses and I live out of a positive space. I do. Every day. Every day. And I focus to stay in that space. But the realities are shining through. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I want to just go through the comments here. I know Diana has said that before. She says, I'm with Rhonda. We don't do organ meats. Well, now you know how to prepare them if it comes down to it, that's the only thing you have to eat. The heart and the liver both need to be peeled. Peel that outer layer off, and you will be good to go. Taking a break, getting a call from sister-in-law in Missouri. Woohoo. Well, there you go. Awesome, awesome. Rhonda says, nope, nice try, Tammy. Our moms would both sometimes add it to the giblet gravy at the holidays. Just the tiniest bit can be detected by both of us. I get it. I get it. I get it. Yes, that's something that needs to be overcome, and that may be deep-seated. So fair enough. Fair enough. Shannon says, I haven't had liver since a kid, and at this point, I don't know if I could talk myself into trying it again, lol. The dogs are welcome to it. Well, and think of it this way. You know what? You get a deer, you have certain meats that you can pawn off on the dogs that would make great dog food in the event that dog food is not available. So there you go. So, it's all good. Oh, I hear you. Yes, Shelly. She says, I have also bought some chicken gizzards and made stir fry from them. We fight over those. We fight over the chicken heart, liver, and the gizzard. And a lot of people don't realize how good the gizzard is, or even thought to eat the gizzard. But again, that needs peeled and cleaned, and that is amazing. And yes, I will fight you for that. Patera from the Appalachia's Homestead has been encouraging rationing for a while now. Yeah, it's so important. And you know, I really got criticized for putting that video out and mentioning about not living out of your pantry right now and depleting your pantry, and that I should let people make those choices on their own. And I certainly hope all of you present here and anybody watching this and who knows us well knows that I am not telling you what to do, ever. And there's a million ways to skin a cat, and you know I will always share that. But in these times, I know I was pretty adamant about that, and I am, because you are going to regret making that move right now. You should be stocking up on everything. Everything. And I'm going to preface this everything I'm saying today. If you are in a financial crisis, and what I am saying is just making things worse, because I'm telling you that you need to spend and stock up and do this, and you can't. God will provide for you, and God will take care of you. He knows all of our circumstances. He knows where we're at. You guys, if you've been following us for any length of time, we walked out a 6-8 year financial hardship at its core. Yet God provided for all of our needs. We're going to talk about strengthening your faith and trust muscles today, and why that's so important. And you hear me talking about it all the time. But if you are in a place of lack, I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to be empowered, knowing that you have done everything that you possibly can for yourself and your family. And this is where you need to put 100% total, complete faith in God and not be fearful. Trust that what you have will be enough, and trust that when you are down to that last little bit of olive oil, He's going to reproduce it. Trust me, He will take care of you. You guys saw that in us. You guys watched that with us, and you guys watched us walk out of that space. You are watching God bless us now. You are watching deep, wholehearted, deep-seated faith and trust right now in me. And I just want you to be certain that you are not in a place of fear. Do not live in that space. That is the enemy, plain and simple, okay? So if you are at that spot, listen anyway, so that when things shift, or if they do shift for you, you know what you need to do, okay? If not, and if you are in that space, I want you to focus on learning new skills, but also, who is your community? Who are the people that you are going to go to? Who are the people that may come to you? Who is your group that you guys are going to be looking out for one another? You know, that is something you should really have in place, and know and have people you can trust. If you don't, pray that God brings them to you. If that doesn't happen, don't lose faith and trust in God. He's going to use you where you're at. That's the key thing you need to know, and that you will be fine. Where God guides, He provides. Okay? So pray about all the things that you question or that are uncertain to you, but stay out of a place of fear. Keep building your faith and trust muscles, and keep redirecting those negative thoughts. All right, so Key says, massive outbreak of COVID here. Protest was hijacked by BLM mob and ended in a riot. Mandates will continue. Man. I know you're grateful you're away from all that. Continuing to pray, and continuing to pray for the Ukraine and Russia. You know, God is present there. Let me just read these last 3 comments, and then I'm jumping into things today, because I got a lot I want to cover. Miss Shanna says, do you have a video on what things we should be stocking up on? I have videos explaining the food. Today's going to cover a lot of that, Shannon, and I will probably do a separate video with just the tidbits for those that can't watch such a long video. So stay tuned today for that, and I will be continuing. I've got a lot of videos in the queue. Shelly says you should be rotating your food, so eat what you know you can replace. Then you should not deplete your pantry ever. Just use the oldest and make more. Exactly. Exactly. And eat now what is going to go quickly, and sit on the things that have a long shelf life. You know, all the stores all over the country are all different. So, you know, keep hitting them, keep stocking up. You know, if you don't have big amounts of money to be able to stock up on what you can. An extra bag of rice, an extra bag of beans. But stock up on things you're going to eat. Stock up on things that will have a longer shelf life. Canned goods, canned fruit, whatever your family eats. But don't go buying stuff that you're not going to eat or that you wouldn't like. I mean, Diana and Rhonda are not purchasing liver, pate, or heart, or any of that stuff. So purchase the things you like. Diana says, give a thumbs up, everyone. Thank you, sweet friend. Yes, please do. Give a thumbs up. Share this with your friends, because there's still so many people with their head in the sand, and it breaks my heart. I feel the weights of that more than I feel the weights of anything on my own personal family, is seeing these people that are just so jaded and just so unwilling to see the truth. And it just breaks my heart, because I know they are going to be the ones suffering first. Also, subscribe. We have a lot of content out there already. We are uploading videos and getting more content out there. I go live every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Last Wednesday of every month, we do a community Zoom. So subscribe so you're notified when my videos go live. I try to offer as much encouragement as I can to the masses right now. A lot of scared, worried people, which we are going to talk about today, in addition to what you need to stock up on. Additionally, join our community, TrailWilderness.com/community. You can go in there. There is no censoring. I'm in control of that, and it's free game. It's free conversation. It's free topics. What is on your heart, we can talk about. If you need prayers, we will lift you tremendously in prayer. The other thing is join my newsletter, TrailWilderness.com/newsletter. I haven't sent one in a while, but if I am removed from anywhere because I really feel like I'm shadow banned in so many platforms, my materials are just not reaching what they should. And that being said, if that continues, if I'm removed, if stuff shuts down, you know, you can still be connected with me via email, TrailWilderness.com/newsletter. Thank you, Miss Diana. So, Shannon says, love that. Where God guides, he provides. Amen. And he does. He does. He does. Shelly says, I have food that has been canned for years and it is still good, but the new rules for canning lids is that they only last 18 months. I know the food lasts much longer. It does. It very much so does. And, you know, you open that jar and it stinks. That's a really good indicator that it's no longer good. And that's what will happen. It will also have mold on it. So, yes. So here's what we're going to talk about today. Stocking up. Okay. Gas prices, guys, are going through the roof and at a rapid speed. Very rapid speed. And if it's not in your neck of the woods, it's coming. A lot of people do things different. Our generator is what runs my washing machine. Our generator is what we use to charge things up if we've had too many gray days. Many of you have a generator because if your power goes out, you have freezers and refrigerators that you need to keep running. You might have medical equipment that you need to keep running. So a generator is a priceless tool. If you do not have one, you can go on Northern Tools and get their power horse. I think it's like a 2,500 or a 2,800. They're like $500. Yeah, Hondas are going to last forever. They run very efficiently and for a very long period of time. You need to keep good care of all your equipment. That's essential. Ours is a Honda 7000 IS. Those power horses are amazing little machines. Austin has a power horse. I think it's, like I said, 2,500 or 2,800. And he paid like $500 for it. You can get an extended warranty on them. And he can run on 5 gallons of gas for over 40 hours. That's huge. It's very efficient. So if you don't have one, that might be something you would want to stock up on and have in place. The other thing is your fuel. You know, a lot of times people just have a small gas can in their garage to fill the lawnmower or the weed eater. If that is you, you might want to get a couple new 5-gallon cans for gas and fill them up. You know, if an EMP comes through, our vehicles are going to be toast. Our generators are going to be toast unless you have them protected in any way. Most people will not. And in which case, gas won't matter in a lot of cases. But if it's not an EMP and gas goes to $10 a gallon and you can't afford it, but you need to keep things running on the home front, it's going to be important to have that fuel. So, you know, it's all going to depend on your lifestyle, where you're at, how you're living, what you're using the gasoline for, okay? But I would highly recommend getting fuel. I did that yesterday. I shuffled cans. I filled my generator. I filled my car. You know, before I left here, I filled the generator. I filled anything that requires fuel. The four-wheeler's full. And then I went out and I filled the cans I had. You know, I don't want to pay a hideous amount for gas. And what if we go back into the 70s where they start, you know, regimenting and you can only get a gallon at a time or 5 gallons at a time, and there's long lines and you're lucky if you even get any. You know, this stuff can happen. It very well may happen. It would suck, and that might be scary for some of you, but we're going to touch on that next side of this in the next part of this. Fear is going to play a huge role, and you cannot be in that place. You've got to understand that you can only do what you can do. It's going to be what it's going to be. As you know, I say it all the time. It is what it is. But the better prepared you are and the better prepared you can be and the better that you are thinking broadly about everything, you know, your mindset should be in the mentality that, okay, I'm planning as though the power is going to be out for a month, even 2 weeks. You know, some of you, a month might be a very large leap. Let's do 2 weeks. Power's going to be out for 2 weeks. What am I going to need to exist and to live and to function in that setting? For many of you, the toilet may not flush. There may not be running water. Stores are going to be closed because they are trying their best to keep their freezers running and frozen. You know, so what does that look like? What does that look like for you? 2 weeks without power, what does that look like for you? And plan out of that space. My mindset is much greater, much more long-term. So if you are brave and can plan, you know, month, 3 months, you know, really think about those things. Think about the things you're going to need. Think about how you're going to need to stay clean, how you're going to eat, what you're going to eat. You know, for many people, you know, all they have is an electric can opener. What in the world are you going to do if the power's out and it's out for a long period of time and all you have is canned food? Okay, that's how your mind's got to work. You've got to think of all these things. So you want to stock up on gas. If you don't have a generator, it'd be a good idea to have a generator. If you don't have a generator in that regard, there are solar generators also. I have 2 solar generators upstairs. I've shared those with you. They are the Ninja Bat. You can go to TrayerWilderness.com/NinjaBat, B-A-T-T. They're running off 2 of each one runs off of a 100-watt panel out here, my solar panels. That's what keeps those charged. That's what runs my internet. That's what runs and charges some of my devices. They're good to have on hand. Both of those units are 300-watt units. So if you have a CPAP, you know, that's something that you could consider. You know, having the unit by itself does me no good if I don't have a means of charging it. So having a 100-watt panel, you're looking at $100, maybe $150 now. Amazon has them. You want a monocrystalline 100-watt solar panel and a Ninja Bat, and you will have power. Now, if it's gray, You're limited on your power, so you got to be limited on your usage. Same goes with any of the larger solar generators. They're amazing, but if you end up with gray days in a row, you're going to learn to need to be frugal. You know, we've been living a frugal-minded life for 13 years, hardcore. Our mentality is frugal, though. You know, the mountain man can make a pistol out of a paperclip. He can, you should see him with a bread tie, you know. Having a frugal mind starts with just things like our water. You know, do you brush your teeth and have your water running the entire time you're brushing your teeth? You know, do you use water senselessly? You know, those are things that you can start really paying attention to. Do you make a whole pot of rice and, you know, you only eat half and you throw the other half away? You know, leftovers are an amazing way to run with life. You know, in the morning, we eat the leftovers from the night before. Eggs and rice are really good. Heart and rice are really good too. But I know for some of you, that's not going to happen. Let me see here. Okay, so we've got 429 yesterday. No telling what it will be tomorrow. Exactly. Well, when I was fueling up yesterday, an older fella had gone to the coast, and he said that when he filled up, they got to the next spot, and it was 2 cents a gallon more, and he thought, well, that's not too bad. And then they got to the coast, and it was 80 cents more a gallon until he got back. He said it was just insane. And that's just within a matter of days, you know, a day here, a day there. Shelley says, we do not have any place to store gas, but my rule is to not let my gas tank below a quarter tank. We just had our oil tank filled, and it was a ridiculous price. I'm planning on making window quilts. Yes, awesome. Shelley, don't let your gas tank go below half. That should be your rule of thumb. Because, you know, just say, just for example, snowstorm comes in, and you've only got a quarter tank, and you've got to run your car to stay warm for the night. It's not gonna last long. Our rule of thumb is half, and typically we just prefer to keep it full. But half is a good scenario. Diana says that's $7.57 a gallon here. Ouch. Wow. Yeah, because Shelley's in Canada, so thank you for, I love when you guys do that. Thank you. Yeah, that's tremendous. And there are places that is $10 already, you know. And with everything that's going on in Russia and with our president, our fuel is going to get cut off from Russia. And being that we aren't making our own here, so anyway, that's a whole subject for another day. So keep filling your gas cans, guys, and get it at the cheaper price. Shelley, are you allowed to have like a 5-gallon gas can underneath your house or underneath your porch? I know that's not safe. I know that that's probably a safety issue. And I'm sure if it was sitting out in the open, it would grow legs. But keeping your car full is good. You can always siphon from one thing to the next. That's something to keep in mind too. Shelley says, I'm working on getting most of my food cans so that if the power does go off, then I will not lose my meat. I am also looking into dehydrating meat and freezing that. Just some ideas. Exactly. That's the next thing. Two weeks ago, I shared with you guys, or actually it was in my food video, you know, that it's great to have freezers full. Many people have 2-3 freezers full. That is fabulous. That is such a good thing. But power goes off. You have no way of keeping them frozen, and it's, you know, it's warming up here. It's 40. Well, it was 40, and now, what is it? Yeah, it's 40 right now. It was like in the teens this morning. So it's 40 now. It might go up in the sun to 60 today because it's really bright and pretty. But things start thawing. Things start melting. You know, cooler's great, but you would need, there's a deer out there. Sorry, my picture window. I lost my train of thought. Deer distracted me. But having a means of being able to dehydrate and can your food instantly. But if, like Shelley said, she's doing it now. You've got 3 freezers. That's going to be a lot of work, a lot of hands on deck, and a lot of days of work. So, and if you don't have power, you're not going to be able to dehydrate with your dehydrator. You can dehydrate in the sun. I have my solar dehydrators. I have my sun oven. But the volume that's going to need to get pushed through those in a very quick amount of time is going to be very difficult. So with your meats, canning is going to be the quickest thing. And as long as you have heat, so you could use a propane tank. That's another thing you guys want to be stocking up on. Make sure that all your little propane tanks are full. If you don't have extras, buy an extra one. Buy an extra, what are they, 30-pound tanks for the ones for the grill. You know, if you're using the little green Coleman, get a bigger tank. Having those things on hand is going to be really important. Have a means of cooking other than propane. You know, I have my wood cook stove. I have a propane burner here that I can use. I have my propane grill out here with the burner on the side. I have a fire pit. I have a solar oven. I will share a video in the community later for a very simply made rocket stove that does not require a lot to make it. If you don't have anything like that right now and another way of cooking besides a propane grill that could run out, I would highly encourage you to check that video out and get what you need to do it and make yourself one. But yes, being able to preserve the foods that you have in your freezer is going to be something you're going to have to contend with. So that leaves you with having canning jars, having canning flats, having canning rings on hand. Those should have been stocked up on long ago, although right now, it's funny, we went through that major crisis and that major crunch in the beginning of COVID. And then you couldn't find things because everybody purchased them. Now they were coming back. You have the hoard go on again where people were stocking up again. You know, so there have been ripples in that level of things being available. Keep looking. Please don't go slack. Please don't become complacent. You know, that's what we've been doing. You know, we aren't millionaires. We don't have gobs of money. But as we've had things, we have a list that we've been going off of, and we've been gradually purchasing more of those things, stocking up on those things. Seeds for your garden and growing things is really important. Non-GMO heirloom seeds so that you can not only plant those things, but save the seeds and regrow them next year. Having the books on hand. Down below, you will find the gardening books that I recommend. There's also a seed-saving book that I will share in the community later today. I'm going to make myself a note so I don't have to go back and listen to this, because I tell you I'm going to do that, and then I don't write it down, so that I'm not re-listening to my own video. Rocket stove and the seed-saving book. Those are good things to have and know. Key says, our genius government shut our oil industry down, is closing our only refinery, and will import our fuel to save our environment. Ain't that smart thinking? Oh my gosh. Oh, I so struggle with the mentality and the way people think. You know, I had somebody egging me on the other day. I knew that that's what was happening just because of the person that it was. But sharing with me that the reason inflation is what it is and why it's going up is because it used to cost $2,000 to put a container on a ship and send it here. Now it costs $20,000 to do that. But the point that I'm getting across with that statement is that yes, that is true. But there's so much more going on. There's so much more happening. And when I didn't respond to that question and I didn't feed into that, I just left it go, because there's no point. At that point, you know, I just let it go, and it was a, well, anyway, and yes, anyway, because I'm not being drawn into that stuff. But guys, you got to think. You got to think and see And you know, if you think like that person too, I pray that you look past that and really expand your view and see truly so many more things that are really happening. You know, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Freedom Convoy is no longer being discussed. COVID is no longer being discussed. You know, that there's no air on the airways, nothing is being shared with the Freedom Convoy that's coming through the United States. We need to look past all this stuff, and we need to just keep preparing and keep putting things away and keep taking care of things for ourselves and our families. Finding that community if you don't have it, and really knowing that you can trust the people wholeheartedly. That is so important. Shelley says, we live on an island or the ring of fire, so it is not if it will happen, it is when we will lose power. We have 2 umbilical cords to the mainland that brings us our power. Exactly. And you learned firsthand with the flooding that your island took on months ago, how quickly you get shut off. So having books on hand also to know what you can and cannot eat in your environment is really, really important. I am working on a master list of all the books I own because I feel it's really important for people to have a good physical library. I have my iPad, I have my iPhone, I have a Kindle. If those disappear and that's the only means of knowledge I had, I just cut my nose off my face. Having a physical library is really important. The gardening books that I mentioned, TrayerWilderness.com/family garden plan and TrayerWilderness.com/family garden planner. I have another one for beginners that I will share in the community later today, so that you have that. Having health books and knowing what to do for yourself and your family in the event that there is no medical. These are important things to think about. You know, people don't think about those aspects of things, but having those things on hand so that you have something to refer to is so extremely important. Stocking up on your food, stocking up on your cleaning supplies and I know that might sound funny, I don't do Clorox. I do essential oils. I do all natural. I cannot be around toxins. Whatever your family uses, stock up on it so that you are able to keep things sterile, keep things clean. You know, things are going to get germy. Make sure you have a 5-gallon bucket that you can go to the bathroom in. Or don't be afraid to build something outside that you can use. If you're in the city, that's going to be hard. A bucket's going to work. Where do you put it? Dumpster. You're going to have to learn put a trash bag in the 5-gallon bucket. You're going to need to try to keep things as clean as possible. Having soaps and shampoos and stuff stocked up. More than anything, you'll appreciate those later than necessarily needing them. There's, you know, the key thing there is going to be having enough water on hand to cover your needs. If you're in the city water gets shut down. So stocking up on water, put cases of water under your beds, in your closets, in the trunk of your car. Now might be hard because it's cold outside, but you know, wherever you can stash them, stash them. Same with food. And again, be stocking up on the foods that you want to eat, not things that you wouldn't eat. You can go to Preparing with TrayerWilderness.com and stock up on some ready-made, freeze-dried meals that will help make things easier and also that you can travel with you. Okay, thank you, Diana. She said the link for the Ninja Bat didn't work, so I will... check that and post that in the community later. That's weird. Okay. Thank you. Let me see here. Diana says our illustrious leaders shut down our pipelines and now we import from Russia. We went from energy independence to where we are now. Exactly. And don't tell me that wasn't with intention. He just cut our nose off. I mean, what other reason would that have been done for? I mean, that was just a ridiculous move. And that happened like 2 days after he was in office. So, you know, you can call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. But look at the picture and look at what's happening. Now, the thing is, all that I'm saying, you know, negative, doom and gloom, it is. But the key thing is, and I tell you guys this all the time, God has to be first in all situations, in our lives, in our businesses, in raising our children, everything. And he needs to stay first in this too. He will take us through the good, the bad, and the ugly. But if we aren't putting him first and we aren't seeking him for answers, and we're seeking our surroundings and our world for answers, we're gonna sink. We're gonna fail. Hang on one second here. I have to keep looking for him. I just got a message from the boy. He sends Bowser over here during the day so that they can play. And he's on his way. So I just got to keep an eye out for him. So Shelly says, usually it is half, especially in the winter. But now that it is nicer, it can be a little lower. I usually never let it go to a quarter tank. Well, look at it this way, Shelly. Okay, so you can't store fuel anywhere. I would keep as much as I can in my fuel tank at all times just to make sure you have something there to tap into if you need it. That's how my mind works, but that's good. What you're doing is good. But in these scenarios, this is different, and we need to kick our minds into gear and thinking of keeping ourselves in a place of abundance. The more we can do that, the better off things are going to be. So not under the house, and we do keep a little one for the lawnmower, but I'm working on figuring out how to keep the house warm without the furnace since we cannot have a wood stove. Do you have any southern exposure at all? Because it was negative. Oh, not negative. Teens this morning, okay? Wood goes in the wood stove at night. It probably lasts till about 2 a.m. When I wake up in the morning, it's comfortable in here because the sun is hitting the front of my house and just making it very warm in here. So you have that plus my wood stove going. Then if I do light it, or if I'm cooking, even with a propane burner in here and having a propane burner in here, you know, heating my coffee, it heats it up in here. So, you know, little jaunts of those kind of things can increase your heat in your home. And if you're making the quilts for your window and you're holding in your heat, you know, things like that can really change the temperature in your environment. I mean, this is 12 by 16, so it's tiny. So it's going to hold the heat better than a bigger home. But the other thing is closing rooms and doors that you don't need heated. And you know, implementing things like that, you know, when you're heating your tea water or you're cooking your food, that's going to heat things up. So all kinds of things like that can make such a huge difference. She says, rule of thumb with all the foods I freeze in the fall. If it has not been used by the spring, then I look into canning it. So leftover raspberries either become pie filling, jam, or sauce. Yep, exactly. And then, you know, you have future use of those too. So that's a really good way to roll with things. Shelly says, every time I go out shopping, I try to pick up some canning lids to stock up. They are there now. When people are not canning, they will be gone in the summer. And, you know, people are educating this way, not just me. There's so many people out there on YouTube telling you to stock up on these things. So people start to go, so, you know, stock up, buy those things, get those things, keep those things. Those are good barter tools. If you don't can, if you've never canned, having those things on hand and learning to can, it's not complicated. There are canning books that I will share with you. The blue, the Ball Blue Book is a great book to have on hand. Here he is. Come on. There you go. Good morning, Bowser. All right, so Shelly says, my front window faces the south and it does warm it up, but in the winter here it can be cloudy for days as it is our rainy season. Yeah, exactly. So it does, you know, it does make it hard. But again, if you're using your propane burner and you have, or a propane stove, or even just any kind of stove, because there's glass tops, there's electric, If you're closing doors off and making your home smaller, those rooms don't need your bedroom. If your bedroom doesn't need heating during the day, close the door. That'll help you tremendously. Turning your thermostats down during the day. If you're all gone during the day, turning that down during the day so that your home is not burning your fuel and you can conserve it for when you're there. Things like that are really important. Now I'm going to jump us. I'm jumping us to another aspect of things. And the title today is Now is the Time and Lean on Him. Now is the time. Things are coming to a head, guys. It's hard to acknowledge that. It's hard to want to see that, but things are going to get interesting. I follow another fella on YouTube, and he's a friend in Ukraine who is in a bunker right now because his town was bombed and just totally taken out. They are in this shelter. They ask, they're able to communicate with him. Can we send you money? No, money has no value now. Nothing. Their economy is gone. There is no money value. There is no nothing. There is no more preparing. They are in it. They are in the heat of it. What they have, they have. What they didn't have, too bad. That could happen to us. And I want you to really think about that. And we need to think about that when we're stocking up. Many of us may have this huge savings account. I'm not saying it's bad to have a savings account. I have one too. But how much of that should stay in the savings account, and how much of that, and in the bank, and how much of that should be getting used towards your well-being and your current times? As I have been saying over and over again for weeks, that is an investment. You are investing in your future. If you are buying freeze-dried food and stocking up on it like wildfire, that is an investment in your future. It will never serve you poorly. So keep that in mind, okay? God is present. Don't forget that. There was a church in the Ukraine that was full attendance on Sunday. A missile came through one side of that church and went out the other side of that church and detonated in a field far enough away from the church that nobody was injured. Don't tell me God is not present. Don't tell me God is not going to take care of us. God is working. God does not bring us and create the bad things on this planet. That is the enemy. Remember, we have free will. I want to touch on something. We have free will in our thinking. We need to realize that God is there for us. God will help us through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Wish the man was here. He'd do his whistle for me. And he will carry us through. He will grow us through those times. He will build our faith and trust muscles. He will carry us through. He will help us to have the strength and the courage we need if we call on him. So I want to touch on some things here. I'm going to jump back to the questions in a second. I met with a friend the other day, and she's dealing with a 93-year-old father-in-law. I'm experiencing things with my father, who is losing a battle to dementia. And the question she had for me is, why does God let people suffer up to the very end? And she had given me some examples. People on their deathbed who just kept suffering and suffering and suffering, and they wouldn't pass on. Guys, we have free will. We have free will to the very end. We have free will for our thinking, and we can choose to turn negative thoughts into positive thoughts. The more we do that, the less hold the enemy has on us. If we can keep ourselves in a positive headspace and we can keep our eyes on Jesus, we will keep ourselves in a very wholesome place. Now, there are a lot of very devout Christian people on this planet, but through these hard times and through the pandemic, they were scared to death, housebound, afraid to go anywhere without a mask, afraid of dying. That's the enemy holding them in bondage. And that is a struggle for everybody. And it's something that we don't have to struggle with. My family has come to terms with God's hand in our lives. When things don't go our way, we know that he's got a better plan. If we pray and God says it's time for Austin to go to Spokane and he's in the city and everything were to fall apart, he's up there for school and everything were to fall apart, and we didn't have any reservations for him to go. God didn't put anything on our heart to feel like that was not where he was meant to be. We follow God's lead. If the world falls apart and he is up there, he is where God has him. He is where God needs him to be. And God will use him in that time. Me as a mom, I've got to trust that. I've got to be okay with that. And I am heavily know that because I didn't have any reservations of any kind, because God will put reservations on our heart. We get that gut feeling, that sock to the stomach, to know that that's not right and we should be moving forward with caution, that that's not what's happened, that's not what's good for him. Everything would be falling apart and it would be very difficult for him to get up there. That's a good indicator that God, that's not where he's supposed to be. But at the same time, that could be the enemy trying to put a blockade there and keeping him from being where God wants him. Okay, so how do you handle that situation? You pray. And you pray and you pray and you put a fleece out there for God, that if this is not meant to be, just make everything totally fall apart. Make it very clear. Give us a clear picture. And if you are able, give a complete scenario of how God could show you. He will show you. But I am in great peace when I know that we are walking in alignment with God's will. And that if things happen, then God has purpose in that. And I've got to be okay with that. And I've got to trust that. Is it hard? Sometimes, yeah. It can pull on mama's heartstrings. But at the same time, I've grown to a place, I don't have fear. I don't have worry. I don't have anxiety. I do feel the weights of the world. I do feel, the heaviness sometimes. But I'm not fearful. It's just I have to pray a little more. And sometimes God puts those weights on me to pray and to pray for certain people. I know you guys get that sometimes too. You feel the need. Somebody just keeps popping in mind. That's God wanting us to pray for them or reach out to them or both. So you've got to come to terms with a place of peace and trust with God. You've got to trust that he's got a purpose. You've got to trust his plan, regardless if you are walking out something good, terrible, atrocious. We've walked out some terrible, terrible things. I don't regret not one of them. I really don't. I had a rough childhood. I don't view it that way. I view it as God built me up to become a warrior for him. That everything I walked through had a purpose, and every stepping stone I took led me to the next level of stepping stones to get me where I am today. He will do the same as we move forward. He has built many of us into warriors for a reason. Whether it's for me today to be sharing and speaking this to you guys and reaching somebody different or reaching somebody's heart and helping them to pull in deeper. Because I say all this to answer my friend's question. I truly believe that when people are on their deathbed and they are just suffering and suffering and suffering and just aren't taken to heaven, it's because they are scared to death to die. I'm not. My family has come to terms that, and yes, we will mourn. Yes, it will be a loss. But if God came today and took Glenn, I would be celebrating that he is in the hands of Jesus and celebrating that I will see him again. And then I will have an even stronger strength on this planet to know that I'm striving to see him again, and that God had purpose in that, and that God still has a purpose for me here, and I can't be spending that time rocking in a corner. So many people are afraid to die. If we die, we're going to a better place. Yes, we're going to leave our loved ones behind, and yes, it would be nice to say, God, come take us all at the same time. we all have a different walk. We all have a different purpose. We all are going to reach different people with our story, with our testimony, with our strength. Don't be afraid to die. And don't be afraid to put your faith and trust in God and know that he is going to take care of you. There is not an example in the Bible where he did not take care of his children. He fed Elijah with the ravens. He allowed Moses to have the ability to bring water from a rock. He allowed manna to fall from the sky, and those people were in denial. They were in denial. They were afraid. They were fearful, and they would not trust him. Don't be that stubborn. And don't be that jaded. Open your eyes, open your heart, and allow Jesus in and trust that he is going to take care of you. If there is anything negative happening in your life, it is the enemy stirring the pot. He don't belong there. He don't belong in you. He doesn't belong on your shoulder. He doesn't belong in your head. There shouldn't be any negative things that you're thinking. That is the opposition. God brings goodness into this world. Unfortunately, the enemy stirs up all kinds of evil, all kinds of ignorance, all kinds of death, all kinds of natural disasters. The argument is, yes, God might be able to stop them. But if there are people on this planet that aren't calling out to him and asking him for his help, and they're denying him, and they're saying he doesn't exist, and they're using his name in vain rather than trusting and knowing him, he has no reason to come into this world. We need to call him into this world. We need to put our faith and trust in him. Okay, so I'm off that soapbox, but it's really on my heart today. I see so many people, and it's easy, you know, we are all sinners. None of us are perfect. I am not perfect. I am flawed, just like everybody else. But one thing that I do have that's rock solid, and I keep being convicted of the other things, one thing that I do have that is rock solid is my faith and trust in him because of what I've walked out. Okay, when I was on the farm, you guys have heard me mention this before. Before moving here, I was a single mom on the farm before meeting Glenn. I didn't meet him. God brought him to me. It was amazing. It's amazing. So awesome when you can see your path. I wanted to know what my purpose was on this planet. Like with great conviction. I so strongly wanted to know what my purpose was supposed to be. I wanted to hear his still small voice. How do these people hear God's voice? How do they have a relationship with him that's like that? How? I want to know. I asked my landlord. They were really good, strong Christian people. They didn't know. I'd ask other people. They don't know. I know. I figured it out. I know now. And I'm sharing it from the mountaintops. It's as simple as pulling into him. Pull into him every day. Read his word. If it doesn't make sense to you, open that book and say, Papa, show me what I need to see. Help me to understand this. Find a version that you understand. The these and the thous, I tell you all the time, messes with my head. I am getting better. I want to be able to understand that version. Bible.com. Great app. You can read the Bible in any version on the same app. Logos, I don't know if it's logos.com, but the Logos app on, I have it on my iPhone. It's another great Bible app. Dig into his word. Read his word. His word is alive. You will read the same verse that I will read and get something very different from it than I will. Our maturity levels, our walk with Jesus are all different. Don't be discouraged. Don't ever, ever, ever be discouraged at my level of faith. It wasn't like this all the time. I was afraid and worried for my children. I was afraid of my finances. I was living out of great stress and anxiety because I was in fear all the time. I had low self-esteem because of being verbally and physically abused, and I was not in a good place much of my life. I was not pulling into God. I believed in him, but I wasn't trusting him. That all changed when I had life-saving surgery and when God and I got really, really close. He diagnosed me. He led me to my doctor. He healed me. He was present. He showed himself. He spoke to me. Celebrate all of that stuff, guys. I celebrate it. And I celebrate it because what I have, you can have too. I am not special. I've just figured it out. And I am special in that I am a child of God, and so are you. You are special. He has a place for you. The thing is, you want what I have, you keep seeking him. You keep pulling in. You don't be afraid to share your testimony with somebody. You don't be afraid to listen to your Christian music when your friend gets in the car. You don't be afraid to pray over somebody when you're on the beach. You don't be afraid to walk through gobs of people on the beach listening to the church sermon. You wear your faith on your sleeve. Trust him wholeheartedly and keep seeking him. And I promise you, what you see in myself and my family, you will have. Okay, I want to read something to you, and then I'm going to go back to the comments. I knew today was going to be powerful, but Papa's really speaking. This is Papa. Okay, Hebrews 11:21. He died leaning on his staff. The Bible says, by faith, Jacob, when he was dying, worshipped, leaning on his staff. What a way to go. What a way to go. Worshiping and celebrating and praising God, and he comes and he takes you to heaven. Woohoo. Woohoo. Picture this. Each time Jacob had an experience with God, he took a knife and he cut a ring around his staff as a reminder of what happened. The rings started at the bottom and worked their way to the top. One would surely have symbolized the night he wrestled with God, and his name was changed to Israel, a prince with God. Another would have represented the night God showed him a vision of a ladder extending into heaven with angels. Can you guys just give me an idea that I'm still here? A call just came through, and sometimes it pauses things or makes me spin. Can you just like say, you got me and I'm still good before I go rambling on here? I'm going to take a pause and get a cup of coffee or a drink of coffee. Okay, good. All right, let me jump back here. All right. In short, Jacob's staff represented a lifetime of experiences with God. So it's not surprising that he died worshiping God and leaning on his staff. Now consider the story of the Shunammite woman in 2 Kings 4. Her son suddenly became ill and died. So Elijah sent his servant Gehazi ahead with his staff to let the woman know he was coming. But when Gehazi placed the prophet's staff on the dead boy, nothing happened. Only when Elijah came himself was the child restored. The fact is, you can't lean on anyone else's staff but your own. You can't stand on anybody else's experiences with God but yours. When it's time to face life's challenges, including death, you can only lean on the faith you have developed during your personal walk with God. That's why it's essential to be faithful and consistent in your spiritual journey. By leaning on his staff when he was dying, Jacob, in essence, declared, "The God who preserved, protected, and prospered me thus far will take me the rest of the way." What a blessed assurance. Okay, I want to go back a little bit here and we're going to talk about this. I want to read this and hopefully this will re-trigger the thoughts I have. The fact is, you can't lean on anyone's staff but your own. You can't stand on anyone else's experiences with God but yours. No matter what it is you're walking out. So often when we go through hard times, we blame God, we get mad at God, we get frustrated with God. Can't do that. We need to lean into him and ask him to guide us through these times. We can't blame him. He doesn't bring the bad things in. And if he didn't answer your prayer the way you wanted it, say that one of your loved ones is dying and you prayed for full healing, you can't be mad at God because his purpose for that person on earth is over and they have a more valuable purpose in heaven. We can't be mad at God for that. Each of our journeys are separate. And I want to challenge you to learn as much as you can from every experience, every happy moment, every valley, every hard time. Try to learn something from it. Instead of going through life and replaying and having these same things, these same trials coming your way, analyze why. Are you missing something? Are you being stubborn? Are you not willing to change? Are you only wanting your prayers answered your way and you're not willing to see all the blessings he's giving you, and you're just not happy because you didn't get the $1 million you asked for? Each of our journeys are going to be different. I make it a point when I'm walking my life out to glean as much as I can from everything. I love to read. I love to talk to people. I love to surround myself with people that are bigger and better than I am, that are accomplishing things that I desire to accomplish that I haven't yet. And I glean as much information as I can from them. Mr. Keith is a walking encyclopedia. I glean as much information as I can from him. I am open-minded and I have an open heart. And when you all come to this platform with me and you share something with me that you're doing that I might not be, I'm not prideful. I'm not going to, not learn from you guys. That would be foolish. We have to be willing to be open-minded, open-hearted, and just taking in as much as we can every day in our surroundings, in the things we walk out, in building our faith and trust muscles. It's not easy. That is a journey. It is a complete journey. Some of us will get there faster than others. Some may not ever get there. Our walks are all different, but I hope and pray that through my encouragement and through the experiences I have and the things I share, that you guys get empowered, you get nuggets, you get stronger, you get encouraged to pull up your bootstraps, you get encouraged to put on your armor every day. Because, I might make it look easy, and I'm sorry if I do, but I have rough days too. I still struggle with health issues. I met with a friend on Monday and it was so joyous. We met for coffee because I had to take Ruby, my car, to get looked at. It was only supposed to be in for an hour and I was only planning to visit for an hour. We visited for 5. It has taken a toll on me for 2 days because it overstimulates my body. I can visit with you guys, here for 2 hours and I will be fine. But face to face, I don't know what it is. But I do struggle. It was an amazing visit. It was a little hard because I forget. And sometimes I think I have greater strength than I do to power through that stuff. I don't always. I struggle. I lay down on the couch and completely zonked out when I got back home. It's like going to the city. It's just overstimulation for my body and my mind. So we all have bad days. And the other part of that is, how do you handle your bad days? I handle my bad days focusing on him, pulling into him, needing him, knowing I need him. And if I'm still struggling after that time with him and I need something more, I fill myself with worship music. I listen to a podcast or a YouTube of somebody that I enjoy that's very inspirational and encouraging and a strong Christian, and see if they will empower me. And I recruit prayer. I'm not proud. I'm having a bad day. I'm struggling. I need help. Sometimes when you're detoxing, it can mess with your head, so it stirs up a lot of heavy metals and, for me, silicone and different things. So, we are going to have weak days. And maybe those people on their deathbed that aren't willing to let go, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they just need prayed up, just like they would have throughout their walk. But the more we build our faith and trust muscles in this life, and the more we trust him over our desires, the more we trust him when things don't go the way we want them to, the more we are building our faith and trust muscles. That woman that represents the woman with her bandana and her arm up. I would much rather be represented in that position for God and my mighty strength for God. And that doesn't come on my own. That comes from him. So I'm jumping back here to your chat and we're going to discuss this. So I hope I just didn't blow your hair back. But through what's going on right now, we need to trust him. We need to build our faith and trust muscles. When if it all falls apart, you know, my husband said to me the other day, what are we going to do if tomorrow everything's different? You know, and he was, you know, it was just a, you know, yeah, that could happen kind of moment. It wasn't like we know what we would do. We would keep faithfully moving forward and we would keep seeking him, and tomorrow wouldn't be any different than today. For us, what will that look like for you? The difference between a successful transition into something like that and being in a corner is keeping your focus on God and trusting that whatever is going to come down the pike, we may not be able to handle it, but through his grace and love and power and mercy and strength and peace, we can. Being a hysterical hot mess isn't going to help any of us. So keep seeking him. All right. Diana says Ace Hardware has pretty good prices on canning supplies. Go to their website. Yes, and you know, for us here in this environment, we're in an environment where there's a lot of people living the same life we are. So, you know, year round, there's canning supplies available in every store here. Ace Hardware, the grocery stores, that kind of thing. Guys, I want you to share with me in the comments below how today's talk just resonated with you. And are you prepared for anything? More mentally than physically. Because without God in the equation, we'll never be prepared 100%. I've shared that with you before. Okay. Shelly says we try to keep our thermostat at 15 all the time. If cold, put on slippers or sweater. Now she's Celsius, so that's why she says 15. I don't know what the equivalent is, but I'm imagining like maybe 50s or 60s. Shelley says, I've been looking for bulk buying canning lids in Canada and have yet to find anywhere. Miss Toika is in the house. I see you guys saying hello to Miss Toika. So Shelley says, I always think that those people who suffer to the end without complaint do so because they're either have some unfinished business, but those who suffer and complain are not sure of their relationship. Yeah, and you see that firsthand. Shelley is a caregiver for those that are losing their fight on this planet, and Shelley has a very unique spot, so Shelley can speak into these lives, and I know that she has saved quite a few. Yes, exactly. Their relationship with God, right? And that's the thing. You know, there's a lot of stubborn people in this world, and they live stubbornly through their entire life, and their last days are spent in a stubborn place too. A lot of people also feel that the sins that they've lived out on this earth are not sins that can be forgiven. And that's where we need to speak into the lives of these people. When you feel nudged to talk to somebody, there's a reason. When you feel nudged to pray over them, there's a reason. When you were put in their path to help them, there's a reason. Use that time, you know. No sin on this earth is too great for God's love. And we need to remind people of that often. Often. Shannon says, I have a meeting for work, so have to watch the rest on the replay. Love you all. Catch you later. Love you, sweet friend. I don't know if you're still on here, but love you, and I will catch up with you later. You guys are talking, sending her farewells. Thank you. Thank you. Shelley says, or Toika says, blue sky and sunshine, Shelley. Doing good. Glad to be here, Diana. Awesome. Yes, isn't it beautiful today? It is just an awesome day. There, you know how I saw that deer a little earlier? There was like 3 or 4 of them up here on the ridge walking around. Okay. Rhonda says, missed a lot. We'll need to catch the replay. Diana says, it's great to have a band of sisters on whom you can call on anytime to pray. There is nothing more powerful. Oh my goodness, guys. You know, when I was sick, I walked out a situation where a friend really left me in a wake of a mess and took with her a bunch of other friends. You know, something like you'd experience in high school. It was very saddening and very hard because I was in a time where I really needed friends. And I have been blessed in life at the time to have about 6 girlfriends that I could call on. And maybe I didn't talk to them for 2 years, and I'd call them and it was like we just got back to, we never were separated. And at that point, you know, that's what I had. I was a tomboy. Women come with drama and backstabbing, and it's really sad. And I was drawn to guys. I had so many brothers growing up, and I was very grateful for them. I don't like to shop. I don't get all gussied up. I like to look like a woman. I like to feel like a woman. But I wasn't doing a lot of the things other women were doing. I was climbing trees, fishing in creeks, climbing mountains. So, you know, this wasn't something that came easy, or that I really sought after, just because of some of the things I had experienced in my childhood. So that being said, I prayed for God to bring me wholesome Christian women and people to surround me with, because I thought that's what I had. And suddenly I was shown that they weren't really the friends I thought they were. So God brought them on. And God continues to bring them on. And it's an amazing thing. So if you don't have godly people in your life and you desire to have them, pray for them. Ask God to bring them to you. And He will. He will. And you know, there are still jaded and hurting people in this world that will hurt you through life. You know, we are not promised goodness, you know, and bonbons and boxes of chocolates and all that good stuff. And our hearts get hurt. But when God brings you the wholesome ones, be a friend back to them like they are to you. Hold them dear, hold them tight, and be thankful for them, because it is a true, tremendous gift, like Diana said, when you can just, boom, send out a text message and say, I need you guys today, and boom, they're on their knees. And you feel it. That's just amazing. And I'd like to share with you that in our community, that's exactly what you will find. There are men and women in there that would do the same thing. It's really powerful to see somebody come in there and request prayer and everybody go, whew. So if you don't have that, please join our community. It is an awesome thing when you are surrounded by people like that. TrayerWilderness.com/community. Rhonda says, yes, half is what we have our mind set at, and have encouraged the grandsons to do the same with their cars. Oh, yep, with the gas. Yes, yes. Miss Mylinda and Joe, welcome. So sorry to have missed. We'll recatch. Love you, sister. Love you too. She says, it is all in our reaction. I believe in this time, sis. We may be the only Jesus someone sees. I will rewatch, but we are a lot more prepared than we were ever, even a year ago. Good. And you know what? It's a process. It is a process. And you know what? Maybe nothing will happen here, but you'll learn how to prepare. And the thing is, don't ever become complacent in your thinking, in your actions, for both preparedness and with God. Don't ever get too comfortable that you don't think you don't need Him. Don't ever get too comfortable that you don't think you need an extra lighter. I have a tip for you. A couple, actually. Bic lighter. You know how, do these have it? Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see it. Nope, you can't. Let me see if I can move it down. My Levi's are equipped with the pocket here. There's a reason for that, if you didn't know it. Put your lighter in there, okay? Then it's not floating around and catching the pressure of your thigh or your knife or anything else that's in your pocket, because many times our lighters get emptied because this got pressure on it and the gases are coming out of it, and then you go to use it and it's empty. So keep that in mind. The Zippo lighters with the flip lid, they're really nice. I cannot stand that smell of the lighter fluid. I'll show you something next week that I just purchased. Childhood memories, my dad smoked a pipe and the cigars, and I would get so tremendously car sick when he would light anything with a Zippo lighter. So, anyway, won't go there. But this is my tip for you, another tip for you. We have these out in the bathhouse so we can light the bathhouse fire. You go out there and you would think that still hear me. I got to send a message over. The mountain boy is trying to get me, probably to check on the dog. So hang on, or he'll keep calling. I am live right now. I have Bowser. Okay, sorry. A lot easier to voice text. Okay. So the other thing is, okay, so you guys can hear me. Sometimes when those calls come through, it like freezes everything. These will not light when they're cold. All of those out there are full. What you need to do is just put your hand around it for a little bit. Breathe on the top, breathe on a little bit, but the heat from your hand will essentially allow you to light the lighter. So keep that in mind if you have lighters. I mean, they definitely do run out. And when you hold them up to the light, you can see if they're full or empty, depending on the color of them. But we have run out of lighters a lot because of the contents of our pockets. Another video I'm going to put out is an EDC video on your everyday carry bag and 72-hour bag as to what's in them, what we use in them. We have videos all over our YouTube channel on how to light fires, how to use the equipment in your packs, what to carry, why to carry. I am going to do that again. I say that all because a lot of times what's in our pockets alone would be no different than what you guys would carry on your everyday carry bag. My purse, like I said, I'm a tomboy. So yeah, and I do have lipstick in my purse, but that also can make a good fire starter. But what's in my purse, in addition to like my Bluetooth keyboard, and that is maybe another clip for my gun, Mylar, non-reusable space blanket, multiple ways of lighting a fire, other knives besides the one that's in my pocket. So my purse is thought out. Do I have that down here? No. My purse is very well thought out. It has a strap, a sling strap that you can throw over your shoulder, but it also has a zipper up through the center of that strap so it can be turned into a backpack. So when I was in Florida, that backpack went with me everywhere I went. It was on the beach. You know, I had my knives in there. I had my protection down there because I couldn't carry my gun. So, and I could throw it on the back of my bike, on my back when I was on the motorcycle. So I always had it with me. So that is my everyday carry. It also has things in it like my wallet and things like that that I need. But having those things right now is also important in the event that, you know, all of a sudden you have to be on foot. So I will be sharing things like that as well. But continuing to prepare forward is so important, guys, and just paying attention to what's happening. You know, a lot of people think, well, it's Russia and it's Ukraine. It really isn't going to make any difference for us. Oh, yes, it is, because as Diana said, our wonderful president is severing ties with Russia, and we have no means of making fuel here. So it will affect us. There's a lot of things happening that will down the road affect us. How soon, how bad, it's yet to be seen. But if you're not looking at those things and you're just, you know, living life happily and not thinking about any of that stuff, you know, it could really come back to get you. And if you don't want to follow that stuff, just keep preparing. Just keep stocking up on things. Just keep, you know, paying attention to the prices of fuel, stocking up on fuel, stocking up on the things you're going to need to exist. And like I said, look at life as if you're going to go for several weeks without power. How will you exist? What will you do? If you'd be uncomfortable then, you're not quite prepared enough. You want to keep getting yourself to a place that you feel that you would be comfortable and prepared enough, and then expanding that from a couple weeks to a couple months, and just keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. Okay, please, please. So my Linda says, I'm so grateful he has put you, Michelle, Mybelle, and Shannon in this season to learn from, pray with and for, and prayed for. I look up to you all three as big sisters to learn from. Isn't that an awesome feeling? And you know what? We don't look down on you as somebody that's looking to us for that. We feel the same way. And that's the amazing thing, is when you are surrounded with good Christian people and you are surrounded with good people, it just becomes a hub. It's not one's any better than the other. It is that we are just honing in on each other, and we are loving on each other. And I got to say this, it is, I can't express how important it is to have good people in your life. There are so many people that don't have anybody. They've had bad experiences. They avoid people. There's a situation locally here. I've been watching it for about a week and a half now, and it really saddens me. It breaks my heart. It hurts my heart. There's a young lady locally who is just a gem. She's such a sweetheart. She hurt herself. And so her coworkers are having to take care of her position. There's 3 of them that I've met, one of which I think is a sweetheart also. I've really had a good relationship with her, a good connection with her. And I go in, and of course the one that is injured is missing, waiting for an MRI. I go in there. I'm like, how is she? And my hair is just blown back at how hateful these women have been. All 3 of them. In complaining about her, in fussing about how she does things, and fussing about her being out, and we'll see if she, like she's like lying about an injury and stuff. And granted, there are people that do that. But it saddens me because I am so blessed to have such amazing people surrounding me that I don't even question that would be happening, because I just feel God's presence so much, and God is bringing the right people. Like I've shared it before in our Bible study in the Zoom. It amazes me, I'm live and I'm out here, and the whole world can jump in here. I watch these other channels, and they have so many trolls and so many evil people having just such ugly things to say. And we don't ever have that here. It's like, I just feel God's presence so strong, and it's an amazing thing. And I just want to encourage, batteries dying. I want to encourage you guys. My phone is fighting. Okay, hang on. I'm going to let you see the ceiling for just a second. I want to encourage you guys to walk with integrity, to love on the people around you, to never have anything negative to say about other people, to treat people truly the way you want to be treated. It's so important. So important. Just love on people. It just saddens me. I'm waiting for an opportunity to arise so I can say something. And when I say something, it won't be nasty. It'll just, I hope, be convicting. And I've always been the one to stand up for the underdogs. You see stuff like that happening, don't be afraid to be a positive voice in that situation. I'm going to be. I'm not letting that go. I'm not letting that go. And that's exactly why I've always hovered towards relationships with men and having lots of brothers. They've all just been friends, but they're so much easier to be friends with because they're so laid back and so low key, and you don't experience that stuff. Although the mountain man has shared with me that guys can be the same. I just never saw it. So I guess there's that guy thing and the girl thing. But, regardless, I want to encourage you guys to plant your feet and be a good person. When God calls you out on something and he convicts you of something, there's a reason. Don't be stubborn. Be willing to change. Be willing to change. You know, I floor people at the grocery store when they charge me for 5 lemons and I had 6, and I say, you know what, you missed one. Or I'll even come back in the store and do that. I've done that already. And it's like, it floors people when that happens. And that's because there's not a lot of people that are walking upright. And in order to be a light in this world today, we need to stand out. Stand in your faith, stand in your freedom, stand in integrity. Stand in who you are. Don't be afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid of your story. Don't be afraid of telling people that God loves them. I'm going to share another story with you then in a second. Let me read here. Oh, Diana, love you. Have a good day. She's jumping off. Rhoda says, I'm sure you've covered this in previous videos, but what do you suggest as far as supplements, etc., planting herbs, but want to cover my bases? Suggestions, anyone? Yeah, actually, I'll do a video on that because, I mean, supplements are expensive. So you stock up on, just say you stock up on enough for 6 months or a year of a certain supplement. I have a lot of supplements on hand. I have a lot of herbs on hand. Okay, so when that supplement is gone, then what will you do? What's the next thing? So a lot of times the supplement is a particular herb or certain combination of herbs, or it's for a certain thing. So, okay, what herb can you use for that certain thing? All right, is it something that grows naturally in your environment? Okay, learn how to forage it. Learn where it's at, how it grows. Transplant it into your garden. Is it something that doesn't grow in your area, but you could plant? Okay, have a seed, grow them. Are they something that will grow back? Are they something that will take over? Are they something you need more seeds for? Have more seeds. What do you do with it after it's grown? How do you use it so that it will help you in that situation? Okay, have the book on hand to know how to make the tinctures, the salves, the dry them, makes supplements. Therefore, you might need veggie capsules. You might need 100 proof vodka to make your tinctures. You might need coconut oil or avocado oil or sweet almond oil. Okay, have those on hand. That's how I break it down. And that is how I focus on everything. So I have supplements and herbs and the things for the ailments that we currently have. Funny you asked that, Rhonda. I have a full list from the Herbal Academy. Oh, okay. I'm gonna share something, then I'm gonna jump back to the full list statement. I would love to have you guys join me on something fun. You know, yes, the world is crazy. But we still need to be creative. We still need to have fun. We still need to pursue our businesses. We still need to live life. We still need to, more than anything, first and foremost, seek God. I'm seeking something creative because I've got a lot of creativity going in my life right now. I'm creating our membership. I'm creating videos. I'm writing books. I'm working on websites for other people. I need my creative juices flowing. I like to do fun things, and I like to escape doing fun things. I'm working with leather right now, making moccasins, and I've just signed up for an herbal drawing class at the Herbal Academy. TrayerWilderness.com/herbal creativity. It's an inexpensive course, and I think that it'll help you in your herbal walk, but it'll also give you a little bit of creativity and something fun to do. You can also include your children in this or your spouse. So I want to invite you to join me on that. The class will start on March 27th or 8th. I don't have my calendar. So it's a pre-sign up. But get signed up. TrayerWilderness.com/herbal creativity. Herbert, I saw you joined and I didn't say hello. Good morning. Okay, so I have a full herbal list from the Herbal Academy. I am currently making sure that I have seeds for them and that I have a small portion of each of those herbs in addition to what I already have. I also have Dr. Christopher's book. I have a bunch of other books. Gladstar. I can't think of her name. I will share those books with you next week. It's good to have them on hand. It's good to have books on hand that you can go to that cross-reference a symptom or an ailment with the herbs. I think that's extremely important. If the book just has the stuff in there and you can't cross-reference from the ailment to the herb, that makes it very difficult to look things up. I like that the books that cross-reference like that, because to me that's like being like on the iPhone, you can search a book for a term. We've gotten spoiled by that. When you go to a hard copy book, you can't do that. And not all the authors have things set up in the back of the book and indexes and different things that you can reference things that you're looking for. You'd have to read the whole book to find it. So in a situation like that, that you have an ailment and you need to find out what works well with it, you need a book that cross-references. I have quite a few of those, and they're my go-tos. So I will share that with you guys then, okay? But Rhonda, that's how I do that. I hope that was helpful. I feel it's important to have a little bit of everything on hand herbally so that you can make the things you need as you need them. Really important. And knowing what's in your surroundings, that is really, really important. Knowing how to use what is in your surroundings. Also knowing how to harvest them, forage them, use them, identify them. And then planting and transplanting and growing what you can't find otherwise. So even here in Little Tennessee, we have seen 70% uptick in being attacked when alone at gas pumps. Stay alert, y'all. And Tammy, thank you for stressing that we are all the same and learn from each other. Absolutely, sister. No one's different than the other. We're all on a journey. We're all on the same journey, just at different levels in it. And if people that are at a higher level than we are aren't willing to love on us, bad on them. And we need to take people under our wing. We need to love on people that are hurting. I see so much. And I thank you for sharing that about being at the gas pump alone and stuff. Guys, we should always be aware of what is happening in our surroundings. Always, always, always. Regardless if it's an environment you are familiar with or if it's one you are unfamiliar with. When I go into an unfamiliar environment, my senses are up. I'm paying attention. When I'm in my own environment, my senses are up and I'm paying attention. Don't ever take that for granted. We think our home spot is a comfortable place or our town is a comfortable place. Well, it doesn't mean that a bad element isn't going to come into it. You've always got to be paying attention. I've gotten to practice. I thought about this. My dog is very protective of me. And I thought about this often. When I take her with me in the car and I close the door behind me and I leave her in there and someone comes after me, I'm like torturing that poor dog because she can't get to me. And she will make every effort to do so. So when there are certain situations, like say I'm pumping gas, I pull my key partially out so it doesn't bling, 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 because that would drive me nuts. And I leave my door open. Now, she won't come out unless I call her out or something is wrong. But that's what she's for. And she's my people. Or I'm her people. She's my people too. Furry or not. And, that's a huge form of protection for me. I'm always protected on my own. But if she's with me, that's, so I've started doing that. So if you are a dog owner and you have a dog that is protective of you, even if you leave your door just, not fully open, because maybe your dog would come out, but leave it cracked and not latched. It's a really good way to roll. When you have kids in your car and you're pumping gas and you don't have a dog, lock your doors. I've always done that with my kids in the car. I love people, I trust people, but I don't trust people. You gotta always be observant and people need to prove themselves. And you're gonna have those people that instantly, you feel that instant comfortable connection. There'll be others. They look friendly, but you have that gut feeling, the hair on the back of your neck standing up. Just pay attention to your surroundings and always be prepared for anything. My Linda says, Rhonda, it's such a great thing. I grow things I can eat like thyme, Basil Lavender said, or Tammy has that video. I'm about sure, sister. Yes. Yes, and that's awesome. Yes, being able to grow the things that you're going to eat, and that's the thing. If you guys are starting to garden and you don't know what seeds to get the seeds for the things that you enjoy. And thank you, Keith. We all went out and bought apple cucumber or apple kooks. I know I did, and I know Rhonda did. I'm going to pray with you and standing in the gap for that, sister. I refuse to let that go and need say no more. As a CNA for years and a mama bear, I will stand for integrity. Awesome. Yes, ma'am. Yes. And we all need to. We need to stand with integrity. We need to stand embracing our freedoms and fighting faithfully forward. My Linda says, doing what's right when nobody is looking. Exactly. I came out of recovery from tooth surgery yesterday, and Joe said all I kept telling everyone was Jesus loves you. He's got it on video. I feel blackmailed. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. Me and pain meds and stuff like that do not do well together. That's funny. I love that. I would love to see that. You ought to share that in the community. My Linda said, told you, Rhonda, sister, that Tammy would have all that. Love her heart. Oh. Keith says, as a BC survivor, Rhonda, suggest you grow red beets, apple cucumbers, purple lettuce, dark flesh tomatoes, and dark green celery. There you go, Rhonda. There you go, Rhonda. The man has spoken. That's awesome. Screenshot that. Thank you for sharing, Keith. That's awesome. Keith is very blessed with knowledge. Oh, I love that you guys are all saying hello to one another. And my Linda says, blessed evening, Keith. Great advice. I'm taking notes. Yes, he is a wealth of information. Okay, Keith, I have a question for you. My hair is growing back. I'm not losing hair anymore, but it is like fuzzy. It's untamed. There's like no taming it. See, look, I like just touched it and it's like, I know I could put oils on it. I know I can treat it. What do you recommend? What oil? Because some of the oils clog the pores and then prevent you from hair growth. So what can I do to my hair that will bring it back and rejuvenate it? Or do I need to wait for all new growth to come in? Just curious. But for those of you that are losing hair, collagen, TraerWilderness.com/collagen. The other thing is sea kelp, and I think I created a short link for that, TraerWilderness.com/kelp or sea kelp. Check that out. Sea kelp is tremendous in stopping hair growth, fallout, sorry. Said that backwards. Biotin is good, but it was amazing, the shift. And collagen is just so good. Us ladies start losing that as we age, so collagen is good to have in our systems. Shelly says, I take my red beets and I dehydrate them so I can keep them longer. I then use them in smoothies with lots of other great veggies. Oh yes, red beets are a tremendous, I love red beets. Shelly, I would have a hard time dehydrating them. I love eating them fresh. I could eat red beets till I turn purple. That is one of my favorite vegetables. That and Brussels sprouts. I've actually been sauteing up a salad mixture. It's a Brussels sprout and kale and cabbage. Forget what all's in it. It's really good though. I've been sauteing that up and eating it with a little bit of seasoned salt and walnuts. It's been so good. But yes, you know, we're always seeking supplements and things for healing, but our healing can come from good, healthy food. You guys hear me talking all the time about non-GMO. You know, it's going to get harder and harder, possibly. Then again, it might get easier and easier because we will have complete control over what we are growing and what we are providing for ourselves, eating from the wild, securing things from the wild, you know, where I am right here surrounding me, they're untainted, they're unsprayed, they're non-GMO, they're healthy, you know. So I mean, like, knowing like you can go out and grab pine needles off the tree and just chew on them and get vitamin C, or you could bring them in the house and make an amazing pine nettle tea. You know, a lot of people don't realize you can do that. So it's just knowledge, knowing and learning. And I just want to encourage you to be on that journey to constantly keep doing that. Keep learning, keep doing new things, keep adding to your toolbox. Please, now more than ever. My Linda says, I will try the beets. Rhonda, need to research the benefits. Well, Keith was talking into Rhonda. BC is breast cancer. So she is a breast cancer survivor. And a lot of these will continue to improve her health, but also help detox her body too. A lot of times, you know, people that are doing medical treatments are full of a lot of toxins. So a lot of times, you know, your natural eating, cilantro will pull heavy metals out of your system. So, you know, a lot of what we eat can also cure some of the issues or detox some of the issues out of our systems. So Shelly says, I get the kale salad also. I use it in omelets after it has been sauteed. I also add an extra veggies to stir fries along with just eating as salad. Yeah, I got a big huge bag of kale. It was cut kale, and I was going to make kale chips. Although last night I used that and sauteed that up. And the hard part is when you saute that stuff up. I mean, it was a big bag, and once you saute that up, it diminishes so quickly. So I end up using like half a bag or a whole bag. But man, I have always craved vegetables more than I've craved anything. I used to, as a kid, crave starch and sugar, but that was because I was eating all the wrong stuff and eating what my family was providing. As you become an adult, you get to change that. So when you cut sugar and you cut carbs from your diet, you don't crave them anymore. Rhonda says, thank you, Keith. We'll need to double check beets. I have type 2 diabetes, working on reversing and coming off last RX, but not there yet. Keith says it is a sign that it is healing itself and is growing out stronger. Just the difference between riding a Harley and then meeting a Norton. That's so funny. All right, thank you. All right, so it's a sign that it's healing, so I should be excited that I look like Carrot Top at times. All right, I'm staying in it. I'm going to start wearing babushkas, and Laura made me a really cool winter hat, which I will be wearing the next couple days because it's supposed to be cold. So, guys, what are some of the other questions you have, especially those of you that are watching the replay? As you're embracing, some of you are new to embracing preparedness. Some of you have been preparing for a long time. Some of you have been prepping and you've been stocking up on all kinds of things, but then you didn't have the knowledge to back it up if it runs out. So you're all shifting in different ways in getting a handle on the future. Because honestly, guys, at any time, regardless if this was, you know, now 10 years ago, we were doing the same thing. We were preparing for tomorrow. We were preparing for whatever comes our way. And in that case, it was a financial quandary, life-saving surgery, you know, and we were all set. We never went without a meal. We had a roof over our head. We had firewood because we prepared, you know. So just keep that mindset going. But what are things you're struggling with? What are things that you want me to feed into and teach you and show you and guide you? Ask those questions, because that's what we're here for. Don't forget to search our channel. I forget how many, 400 or 500 videos out there. There's a lot of videos. In the beginning, the mountain man was doing a lot of bushcraft stuff. We will be getting back to our bushcraft and our knowledge-based videos. We've just progressed in different ways, building homesteads and raising chickens and boys and goats. And so there's a lot out there. There's a lot on harvesting your animals and butchering your meat and how to cook your meat. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. That's what we are here for. We enjoy educating. We enjoy teaching. And go sign up for our academy. Our membership area will be opening very soon. TrailWilderness.com/membership. In there, you will be able to access teaching videos to teach you how to do everything we do. And they will be continuing to progress. When you first sign up, there'll be about 10, 12 videos out there. And every month, there'll be new ones added. Okay? So go sign up so that you are the first to know when those doors open. They are coming soon. If you need more than once a week of a connection, I had started out doing Monday inspirations on Instagram. I took 2 weeks off because I was having problems with their technology. It was fighting with me and not uploading my videos, and I didn't have time for that. So I walked away for a little bit. I'm going to go back. I'll do my Monday inspirations on Instagram, and we have Bible study every Thursday night, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, TrailWilderness.com/Bible Study Book Club. If you have kids and you want them involved in learning about preparedness, I do a kids corner every Friday, TrailWilderness.com/Kids Corner. It's been a really good time. Have a good time with them. It's been awesome getting to know them. And they are anxious to join me, which makes me feel really good. It was a God thing, and I didn't know how it would go, but it's really awesome. So I'm going to say a prayer. Papa, I just thank you so much for this time. I thank you for what you're doing in this world. I know you are working in the background and doing so much. You are present. You are working. Your miracles are still happening today. Please keep your hand on those in the Ukraine. Love on them. Give them hope. Thank you for your hand of protection over so many of them. Be with Russia. Be with our leaders. May their evil be used for your good. May they be reachable. And I just ask that you just touch everybody in our community. So many need prayer right now. We lift Robin to you. And we lift Sarah and Shelley. And we lift Tammy and her family as they're building their new homestead in Tennessee. And we lift Diana to you. And Toyka and Bobby and Deb today as she's traveling and heading to Texas. We just thank you for all you're doing in everyone's lives. Keep your hand of safety on Carol and on Keith. And just thank you for all you do, your love, your mercy, your grace. Give us strength and courage to walk with integrity, to be proud of who we are, a child of yours. May we wear our hearts and our faith on our sleeve, and may we continue to grow our faith and trust muscles so that we are not hitting our deathbed and fighting all the way, that we are ready for whatever you have to offer us. And may that be something that is visible in every walk of our life, every step of our life, that our faith and our trust muscles are just constantly growing, and that we are not fearful but faithful, and that we are not afraid but trusting. Just keep your hedge of protection on all of us. Give us the strength and courage we need to walk out whatever comes our way. And may your word and your love for us be the thing that keeps us strong and vibrant and courageous. Thank you for all you're going to do. Thank you for this time today. Thank you for loving each and every one of us, and thank you for bringing us all together. We love you, and we ask all of this in your holy and precious name of Jesus. Amen. Miss My Linda, I'm praying for you. I didn't think of it until after I said amen, with your dental work. Praying for that for you guys and for your job and your interviews. And thank you, Keith, for sharing that tidbit of information. That gives me hope that my hair is on the mend. So I appreciate that. My Linda says, one thing for us, it's the worry aspect. We haven't worried as much since God bringing the words get prepared to us. We'll be praying for you all on your platform. Have a playlist of Mountain Woman on. Oh, I know, I saw that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you're sharing your video, sharing our videos. Thank you so much. Keith says, if you're T2, Rhonda, subtract beets and add pineapple. Huh, you the man. Thank you for all you share. I hope you are all writing his tidbits down. He is a wealth of information. And guys, you've heard us talking a lot about Manuka honey. Manuka honey is one tremendous thing to have in your toolbox. And if you go to Amazon, it is horrendously expensive. And I've done side-by-side tests. So I'm going to share with you the version of Manuka honey that I use. You can go to TrayerWilderness.com/MH. It's Silberhorn Manuka honey, and I encourage you to stock up. It's very impressive. It's from New Zealand. It's shipped from New Zealand. I order things here in the United States, and it takes forever to get here. You will have it within like 4 to 5 days, if not sooner. It's impressive. It's absolutely impressive. Really like the company and really like the honey, and I can thank Keith for that. Keith had his hands in a lot of that in regard to its creation, as well as his knowledge being shared in the uses of it. So make sure that you are writing that all down. Awesome. My Linda did get a job. A&D counselor. Prayers work. Absolutely, prayers work. Absolutely. Help me. What is an A&D? An alcohol and drug counselor. Is that what that is? Forgive me. Sometimes the brain isn't always firing at all cylinders, but I think that's what it is, and that's awesome. Praise God. That's so awesome. Rhonda says, Keith, I have to admit it's hard to know what to do. They say if it grows underground, root vegetables don't eat. Then a lot of fruits, such as pineapple, have too much sugar. Avoid it. But there's certain, I know he's going to say this, it's certain levels of sugar and types of sugar, and also the different properties of the plant that are more beneficial than the sugar. So I know pineapple has a lot to offer. And yes, with the beet vegetables, they do often say that. But it also depends on the soil, where they're being grown, what state they're being grown. So that can be, does require research. It does require a lot of digging in. But when you take the time to dig in and you do that part and you do your legwork and you figure it all out, then you have a basis for good health to move forward. So it does get hard, especially if you're combating or researching for different things. It can be very overwhelming. So just do one step at a time. You know, yes, it's going to benefit you when you get it all together, but just keep taking that time and doing your homework and doing the legwork so that when you get there, you're putting all those pieces together. Don't lose hope and get frustrated in that process. Excuse me, it's a hiccup. Because I'm doing the same thing, and you know, I'm doing research for a lot of different things for my body, but when they're all together, they will come together. I have something really awesome, another awesome thing that I'm doing for creativity and health that I will be sharing with you next Wednesday. This will be more for the women, but the guys can benefit from it too. But absolutely amazing, and I'm anxious to share it with you. But I wanted to hold that off for next week. So definitely don't lose hope in that, Rhonda. Just keep doing your research and focusing on those things. Because like I was told that I can have potatoes, but not Idaho potatoes, because there's a lot of mold in our soil and a lot and that. So, and because of the soil here in Idaho. So I can have potatoes, but I shouldn't have Idaho potatoes. So how funny is that? So yes, it definitely, and it's amazing because, you know, we don't realize all the nutritional value and the way that certain fruits and vegetables can help us in our hormones, our healing, our detoxing. So when you start learning about the different vegetables and you put that under your tool belt, that will help you greatly. You know, learning that yams can throw off your hormones depending on where your hormones are at. That's, you know, you not everybody knows that. So it's learning those things. And as you learn those things, and make sure you're writing them down, make sure you're recording them, because it doesn't always stay here. So I have my own little book of tricks that I write down. So I know these things and I can refer back to them when I'm like, oh, I know there was something about the red beet, but I can't remember what it is. It's in my book. So Evernote. I use Evernote. So research beats on list in menopause and barley. Anything out there to research? Oh, and in menopause and barely anything out there to research. There's some really good stuff. I think I'm going to do a class on that at some point here on menopause and hormones, because I've got a lot of good stuff in my tool belt for that. So, and I know there's a lot of people searching for that. Yes, you're going to have to watch the replay, beautiful friend. Miss Laura is in the house. Yes, it was powerful, I think. It was good. It felt powerful to me, so I hope it was powerful to you guys. My Linda says, love you, got to go and feed some hungry dogs. No worries. I got to run and get more firewood in my stove because I can feel it cooling off and my chicken is no longer baking. So gonna do that and get to work. I've got a lot of work to do today. Lots of client work and lots of my own work and writing. So I'm sorry, Miss Laura. We love you. You can watch the replay when I hit the end button here. But love you all. I'm so grateful for you all. Keith, thanks always for joining to the end. I love that you're sharing this information and really loving on the audience and sharing your knowledge. And I love that you all do that. Keep doing that and keep loving on each other. I love how you guys love on each other, and that's so important. My community just makes me proud. I'm not after numbers. I'm after just a wholesome environment for people to be, and I'm so pleased and so thankful and so blessed beyond measure. So I love you guys. Just remember, you know, your walk is your walk, and God has great plans for you. And in order to be 100% prepared, you need Him leading the way in the equation, and you need to keep focusing forward and keep stocking up, get your gas, and keep stocking up on the needs you have for your family, and focus on, if you were without power for 2 weeks, would you be comfortable? When you find and feel that you'd be comfortable at that place, extend it to a month, 3 months, and keep figuring. It wouldn't hurt you to be prepared for a year. So keep preparing in that way and thinking about things in that regard, okay? Guys, I love you. I will see you ladies in Bible study on Thursday. Kids, I'll see you on Friday at Kids Corner, and I'll be back on Instagram on Monday doing my Monday inspiration. Yes, exactly. Not quantity, but quality. We've got quality community here. You guys are so amazing. I love you all. Have a fabulous rest of your week, and I will see you later. God bless.